The 10 pounds of gold. Since the National Wrestling Alliance's formation in 1948, the NWA World's Heavyweight title was a symbol of success in the wrestling landscape. At its peak during the territory days, no title was ever as prestigious of an honor to hold. For those few competitors that had a chance to hold it, the 10 pounds of gold was more than just a belt. It was not a prop or some strap. It was a symbol of values, and if you were good enough to hold on to it, a way of life in itself. But unfortunately, entropy destroys all things, and as the NWA waned, so too did the prestige of its title. That all changed though in 2017, when musician and avid wrestling fan Billy Corgan went all in and committed everything he had to restoring the NWA to its former glory. Quickly, Corgan consolidated the company, previously having been spread around as a loose confederation of smaller independent promotions, all into a single united roster. Over the next 2 years, Corgan attempted to bring back the glory of the NWA, and people did take notice. Some of the best wrestlers in the world began to join in, all for a chance to call themselves NWA champions. The company's popularity rose as it traveled around the country, but so too did its expenses. Under financial burden and after loan and loan, the company began to strain, and its future looked bleak. Where there is chaos, there are those that see dysfunction as a ladder. Enter Paul Pinky George III, grandson of one of the 5 founders of the National Wrestling Alliance. Pinky George was convinced that Corgan was on a collision course for financial ruin. Unlike his grandfather, Pinky cared very little about wrestling. Instead, the NWA was merely a marketing opportunity and a source of his trust funds. He quickly concocted a plan to wrest control of the company away from Corgan, and ultimately he succeeded. Distraught, Corgan disappeared to the background, while Pinky George and the board of directors of the NWA began to strip it for parts. Anything that couldn't be sold off was used as branding opportunity for profit, even titles themselves. The writing was on the walls, and soon some of the company's biggest names departed. Things changed though in October of 2019. Billy Corgan, long having disappeared, returned with a plan to take control back from Pinky George. Despite not having majority stake, Corgan still had a lot of control in the company, and concocted new plans to bring it back to glory. Soon, things were beginning to look up for the company with Corgan back. Using his relations, a new NWA alliance was formed between AEW and Impact Wrestling. Talent trades brought new competition, and the allure of being called the NWA World's Champion brought some of the greatest wrestlers in the world for the challenge. The company's current champion, Chris Jericho, sits as dual champion of 2 companies and declares himself truly the greatest in the world. But new stars in the NWA are climbing up the roster and are rising up to challenge him. The NWA now sits in a precarious balance of power. Pinky George has formed a stable of wrestlers to do his bidding to try to maintain the company's quote-unquote profitability. Meanwhile, Corgan is now abroad, searching the world for a mysterious new talent to bring to his aid. The plan to once again challenge for majority control of the company. Who is this mysterious talent? Who will take control of the company? What ultimately will become of Billy Corgan's NWA?